What's going on, Giants fans? In today's show, we're going to break down the 27-13 loss the Giants suffered to the Seattle Seahawks. But before we do and get into all the stats and reaction and everything that happened in that game, I want to ask you guys, what was your one-word reaction to the loss? I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section right now. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. We're going to break down the game the Giants lost to the Seahawks 27-13. And there's a lot of stuff that you could blame or talk about, but I think it comes down to this. You scored 6 points on offense. You were gift-wrapped a 7-point touchdown from Saquon Barkley after Tyler Lockett was stripped at the 2-yard line from Adoree Jackson. That was the only time you scored a touchdown today, was following that fumble where you got the ball at the 2-yard line. Outside of that, you scored 6 points, which was 2 field goals against a team that was giving up on average about 27 points per game coming into today, which was the 28th most in the National Football League. If you told me in the videos we've done recently that the Giants don't need a wide receiver, I hope you were watching today, because they absolutely needed one. I mean, the Giants' leading receiver today was Darius Slayton, 5 receptions for 66 yards. Daniel Jones had 176 yards passing. He had 17 yards passing at halftime. Go back to, there's a lot of stuff you could talk about. I think some main reasons the Giants lost, they were outcoached. The Seahawks played with more heart. You didn't score points on defense. And the 2 Richie fumbles, a.k.a. Richie James fumbles, on special teams. He had 2. He had 2 fumbles. You're not going to win many football games turning the ball over twice on special teams when you can only muster up 6 points on offense. I don't like the way the Giants coached today. The first 8 plays of the game, 7 were throws from Daniel Jones, and 1 was a rush. You went 3 and out the first 3 drives of the game. You were outcoached. You were outclassed. You were outcompeted. And they beat your ass today. The Seahawks hit you in the mouth, and the Giants didn't know how to respond. It's unfortunate. Daniel Jones, 17-31, 176 yards. I'm not placing the blame of the loss on Daniel Jones, but look, he doesn't have anyone open. He had plenty of time to throw today. How many times did we see him have 4 or 5 seconds to throw and nobody was open, and he had to dump it down to a tight end or a wide receiver or running back in the flat? Go get DJ Moore. Go get Jerry Jeudy. Go get Brandon Cooks. Go make a move. You were 6-1. Now you're 6-2. It's time to win now. You know how hard it is to get to 6-2? A lot of teams in the NFL would kill to be 6-2. It's time to make a move. It's time to put some weapons around your quarterback. You got to win football games. This franchise has been one of the worst franchises in the NFL the past 6 years. And you're telling me we shouldn't make a move because it doesn't make us a Super Bowl contender? How about we get to the playoffs? We have a legit shot to compete in the NFC. You don't have any playmakers. You're not going to compete. I'll ask you guys this question. I like that, Rolly. We'll get to the Giants team stats in a second. But I'll ask you guys this. Why did the Giants lose today? I think there's a lot of ways you can go. I want to hear from you guys. I see someone in the set chat says don't treat DJ like Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what that means, but why did the Giants lose today? I think the fumbles by Richie James was huge. I think the fact that you scored 6 points on offense was huge. The fact that you couldn't push the ball downfield. I can't remember the last time the Giants had an explosive pass play. You skated by the first 6 wins of the season without weapons on the outside. At some point, that's going to not happen anymore. The game plan for the Seahawks today was to stop Saquon Barkley. They did that. They said, beat us with Daniel Jones and throwing the ball. Giants couldn't do that. It's hard to do that when you're throwing to David Sills and Marcus Johnson. Let me know. Why did the Giants lose in the comment section right now? I think a lot of these stats on screen are a lot of the reason you did lose. 225 yards against the Seattle Seahawks defense. That was a bottom 5 unit in rush defense, pass defense, and scoring defense coming into this game. You had 147 yards passing. You had 17 yards passing at halftime. Go back to the drive before the second half. You got the ball down 3 with 1:30 seconds left and 2 timeouts, and your first 2 plays were running plays. You weren't trying to win. You were trying to back into a win today. You were playing scared. Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka, you called today's game with your tail in between your legs. You weren't trying to win. Why on earth are we not trying to get points before halftime with 1:30 in the game or in the half, and you have 2 timeouts? That's an eternity in football. And the Giants basically need the ball out and punted it away. 6 of 16 on third downs. How many third downs was it 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9 and 3rd of 10? It's hard to pick up third downs when you're consistently in 3rd and long situations. You rushed for 78 yards. The Seahawks game plan was clearly to stop Saquon Barkley, who had 20 carries for 53 yards. Less than 3 yards per carry. I know you didn't have Ben Bredesen. I know you didn't have Evan Neal. But when you continuously run the ball up the middle against a stacked box where they say, we ain't scared about your receivers, it's going to be hard to run the football. It is. It's going to be hard to run the football when they stack the box and say, we could play one-on-one coverage on Wan'Dale Robinson. We could play one-on-one coverage on Marcus Johnson. We could play one-on-one coverage on David Sills, because we ain't worried about them, because they're not good. I like Wan'Dale. He ain't ready to be a number 1. He was a second-round pick for a reason. At some point, you got to get to this team some playmakers. A lot of people will say 27 points to the Seahawks. That's why. The defense wasn't the problem today. They held the rushing game to 187 yards. They held the pass game to 190 yards. They held the Seahawks to 3 of 13 on third downs. The defense did everything they could to win this football game. Richie James fumbled twice on special teams. That resulted in at least 10 points and was a swing of points like no other game, no other possessions in this game. Joe Shane, I love you. Make a freaking move. Go get someone that's going to help this team. Because if not, you're not going to beat the Eagles. You're not going to beat the Cowboys. You're not going to beat the Vikings. You're not going to beat the Lions. You got to make a move. Geno Smith threw for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett had 5 receptions for 63 yards. It wasn't the defense. I know it says 27 points. It wasn't a real 27 points. The defense got put in terrible spots all game long thanks to Richie James. Dropped 2 huge fumbles on punt returns. I'll ask you this question, then we'll tell you about some Real One shirts that we have. I want you guys to grade the Daniel Jones performance from today. Grade Daniel Jones's performance from today's show. A, B, C, D, or F. I want to hear from you guys down in the comments right now. We've officially started a movement here on the channel, a Real Ones movement. And we have all type of Real One shirts on sales for you guys. We got Giants blue, we got Giants navy, we got Giants red, and we got black. Chatsports.com/Real Giants. Get your shirt today, chatsports.com/Real Giants. We'll close it out by taking a final look at the scoreboard before we get out of here, and I'll give you my final thoughts of the game. But get your Real One shirt today. We got all types of colors you can choose from. Chatsports.com/Real Giants. The Giants fall to 6-2. You got a bye week coming up. If there was ever a time to trade for someone, it would be going into the bye week. Lucky enough, the trade deadline is this Tuesday. Get them in the building, have them ready to play next week or in 2 weeks. In week, what would that be? Week 9, week 10 when the Giants come back? I don't know. Look, 53 yards from Saquon. It ain't his fault. He had nowhere to run. How many times did we see him touched by a defensive player on the Seahawks before he got to the line of scrimmage? I don't even think it's Daniel Jones' fault. I thought Kafka was out-coached. I thought Brian Daboll was out-coached. Why do you put Richie James back out there after he fumbles once? And if you do put him back out there, why do you tell him to do anything but just fair catch the football? Why do you give him the ability to run the football and fumble like he did? It's time to put some weapons around this team. I know we're trying to be cheap and build for the future, but who knows if the Giants will ever be 6-2 again? You don't know if that will happen. This might be the best record Brian Daboll ever has as a Giants head coach. I don't want that to happen, but you don't know what's going to happen in the future. Go get a freaking weapon, Joe Shane. I appreciate everybody that's made New York Giants Now a part of their day today. We're going to sign off. I appreciate you guys. If you made it this far in the show, I want you to type a real one down in the comment section down below.